Every once in a while you just want to open up a little bit and share some thoughts with the world and say some things that need saying. And I think that's one of those times for me. I've uh, I've been doing some interesting things recently over the past few years in the area of technology, trying to create some things, make some things happen, cause some changes that I see are needed in our world. Uh, I want to talk a little bit about, I guess I could start with privacy, right? Like privacy would be a good place to start because people have been talking about it recently. You see these ads about privacy respecting like NordVPN, whatever these ones are, DuckDuckGo, and people are starting to be aware of their privacy and their need for uh, not sharing everything so much, so transparently across applications they might be using, their search history, their friend group, all this stuff, the public stuff on social media, all the ways that all of these things can be connected together and extrapolated into profiles about you and about the things you like and the ways you might behave, and then try to contextualize that into relevant ways to get you to spend your money and allocate your time and energy towards people, places, or things. Um, a long time ago, I saw this and I was very idealistic. I was young. Might have been 15 or 16, and I just saw this you know this movement on social media, towards a world where everybody was going to be connected, and everybody was starting to, the social part of our phones being with us was in full force at this time. It was maybe 2014, 2015, and I remember seeing a lot of these people who, when I was 10 and 11 in 2010, 2011, didn't care about their phone. It was, oh, I don't care. I would go on, and I remember even being younger, being 10, and talking about, all these pixels on the screen, and how does this iPod that I have, this iPod Touch that I used to have back then, like, how does it know when I'm touching it, and how does it like move everything, and I was fascinated by the technology behind it. Like, it was the most insane thing that I think any of us have really seen in a while, at least in terms of disruptiveness to what we're used to, how we spend our time, right? And in that way, and I wasn't thinking too much about the social aspect in the beginning, but the social people, right? The people that I was around that were more social than I was never really social as a young kid, and still not as much as I probably should be. But um, the social people were all in 2010. I don't care how this works. I guess I need it to work for me, and beyond that, I don't care about my phone, right? It's a tool. It's something. Just do what I want. It's supposed to do what I want, and as long as it does that, I don't. And I didn't understand that. I was one of the people that was like, well, this is amazing. I was connected to technology, almost emotionally, more so than I think a lot of people ever will be, and probably ever should be, uh, because like everything, I don't care how the transmission lines deliver my electricity, as long as the lights come on when I turn them on. I don't care how the combustion engine in my car works, as long as I can get from place to place when I need to, right? Those kind of things. And I can understand that now. I think I can understand that now, more than, obviously, way more than I could back then. I'm 23 now, so um, you learn a thing or two. But that actually started to change. And for me, as this young kid and not really knowing about this stuff, it made me feel a little bit more comfortable around people, because they started to care about these things a little bit more. Not, and I don't think people really do near as much as I did back then. But I think people start to build a connection with their technology now and with their phones. And that connection, they no longer see it as just this tool, this extension of, oh, well, I want this to happen. Your phone and your car, you don't, I mean, some people name their cars. Some There's one person in particular that's very close to me that names her car. But that kind of connection is different. There's a special connection that people have built over the past, I would say 6 to 8 years with technology that has gotten a little bit emotional, almost, in ways. Like Apple was people used to fall in love with the brand of Apple and the things that Apple meant, and build that emotional connection with a brand. And that kind of is what this is born out of. We're now more connected with our technology because of things like what Apple made. The point I'm making here is that as time went on, there were social changes. First, the technology happened, and then society changed. People changed. They changed to adapt to the technology that had started to emerge. And the technology then, it was able to take a form that nobody could have imagined. Well, I think there are a few people at the top of certain organizations who might have had some ideas and maybe executed on those ideas, and maybe actually, I have very little respect for those people, but they're very good at what they do. So if you can develop technology in a way that causes society to adapt and change for the technology, as happened here, I mean, there's not much you can't do at that point, because you can change society. And when society doesn't realize this, or when they say, yeah, but there's nothing I can do, they look at the individual people. You as an individual, you say, yeah, well, be that as it may, I'm little old me, I can't do anything about it. And how has the technology that we use started to impact us? How has it started to make us more okay with being more open and transparent with our lives? Is that okay? Right? When people start to ask these questions, it makes you a bit uncomfortable, I would imagine. It did me when I realized these things. But privacy, when it comes to technology, it's had a storied relationship. I mean, has technology ever improved privacy? Yes, it has. There's been many technologies out there that have made it easier to be more private. Look at the lock on your door. Not the smart lock, not the cloud-enabled thing you go control with your phone, but a physical tumbler lock, with a key in. Other technologies as well have made people more powerful as individuals. Firearms make individuals more powerful. Cars, the ability to own a house, finance, arguably finance can be considered in the lens of technology. It's a thing that exists as a tool to improve our lives and allow us to do things we otherwise would not be able to do, right? To quantify the trading of short-term and long-term interest. I'm getting sidetracked though. Finance, you have things that have happened throughout history, technologies that have been made. The airplane makes you as an individual more powerful because you as an individual can travel. But does your phone or do the modern technologies make you as an individual more powerful or less? It's a bit of a more nuanced picture. Yes and no, right? Yes, because obviously, for those who capitalize on it and who actually choose to do this, they have access to insane resources. The world's information is at your fingertips. You can search for anything. You can learn about anything. You can get a master's level education in any field for free on the internet, and people tell me I'm wrong about this. But I dropped out of computer science after one term, and I didn't learn about Turing completeness in college. I didn't learn about data structures and algorithms, predicate logic, finite state machines. I didn't learn about these things conventionally. I learned about them because of the internet, and that is a very powerful tool, and it's something that we've almost taken for granted at this point. 20 years ago, I wasn't around, but 22 years ago, before he died, my grandpa, he recorded a video on his webcam and sent it to my mom through email. Email is a really old thing, and it's actually really fascinating to me, and I think more people should use it. But 22 years ago, he recorded a video, and he was just fascinated by the internet and the things you could find and the things you could learn and the things you could do. Like, he was saying how I'm supposed to speak into this here microphone thing, and then it's going to record me, and then I can upload the video, and this is just a test, and hope you're doing well. And you could see his face and you could hear his voice, and send it over email as an attachment. And that kind of thing is, that makes the individual more powerful. That gives you more ability to interact, be more of who you are, right? Communicate with others individually, right? But 30 years ago, before there were computers, you wouldn't go and, not in the same way I'm thinking about this as I'm saying it, so bear with me here. But I don't think you would go and you wouldn't hold up a banner and say, "Attention everybody, this is what I'm doing in my life. This is what I'm doing with my day. This is what I ate. This is what I went to the park and went on a walk," right? Maybe a baby shower or a wedding, right? You're hey everybody, I'm making this postcard or this brochure or this maybe even it was a camcorder video announcing something, I don't know, and you mail it out to people, or you get them, you put together an event, and everybody kind of gets on the guest list, shows up, whatever, right? Please RSVP, these type of things, birthday parties, weddings, things we don't do very often. That was friends. That was how friends would do these things. And then technology took that over. But it made it so easy, and it made it so so different, right? People don't get together and do these things as much, I don't feel, anymore. Now it's so often that people post things, and so often that things get shared, and you almost miss the big things. They talk about how the big things are important. Yes, they are. And little things are important too. But when you share so much of yourself, and when you make so much of your own experience about sharing your experience with the world, my thought is maybe some of that is lost. Maybe some of that part of you that that has the energy to get out there and put something big together, right? And then it comes around time to cook for the holidays or actually do something big for your family, and maybe you don't have as much energy for that anymore. Maybe you feel more drained. Maybe everybody feels more drained now. Why? Maybe because the energy we used to spend on doing these big things is spread too thin. Now it seems it's just it's so transparent. It's not a it's like there's a film, like a saran wrap. I don't know, some weird. Something's covering our experiences in a layer of intangible, almost undescribable distance, and it's separating all of us, I feel. It's making everybody tired of sharing. It's taking away the few close friends you might have, the people who you might privately share big things with and spend hours and hours talking to. And it's replacing that with, what it's replacing. All these videos you scroll on TikTok, one video every 15 seconds. And maybe one of them is from one of your friends. Maybe one of them, maybe a few of them are. Maybe if you sit there for 10 minutes or so, you might find something from someone close to you. But in order to do that and see that one, you have to sit there and watch all these other people, all these other experiences, these things that aren't you or your network of close friends that actually care about you. So, how has technology impacted society? That's a big question. And I don't have answers. I don't know if anybody does. I don't know if anybody ever will, really. Because it impacts different people in society differently. It benefits some people a lot. And in ways that we can't put our fingers on, I also feel like it takes something away. But I want to go back to 20 years ago, not 30, not before the internet. But back when you would get email threads with the people close to you about little stupid surveys or funny quizzes or things like you would have going around and via email, email is kind of fallen by the wayside. It's used by all these big companies to send you things, and people don't email each other, and the reason why I think is it's been made easier to do other things, and people have been conditioned. This is the impact that I think technology has had on society. People have been conditioned to just do the easy thing. Because these engineers that put these systems in front of us, they know how much friction, how hard it is to do certain things, and how easy it is to do other things, and how likely it is that you are to do one thing over another. Because when you have 1 million people, or even 1,000, you can learn a lot from changing the layout of the screen, or where things are on the screen, and who clicks on what how often, and I just think I want to close this little section by saying it's not going to be the last one, because I do want to share more thoughts on this. And I don't have a point to make. I don't have a a product. Well, I'm not here to sell you a product right now. I got my business, whatever. I'm not going to talk about that. But what I want to do is stream of consciousness, right? I want people to think. And if all you do is think with me, and don't think the same things I do, but take it as a starting point, or just even just take it as a grain of salt, but think about these things if you think they're important. I'm going to try to make more of these as time goes on, I think, about other things. I started here talking about privacy, and it's a very unstructured thing. I don't want these to be too long, although I do want them to be long enough for me to get my points across. I'm not going to make 15-second videos and put them up on TikTok because you can't get your point across. I'm sorry. If you can get your point across in 15 seconds, maybe you have something valuable to say, but it's unfortunate that you think that's the best way to say it. And I don't have anything against people or the choices they've made about how these things work. I make my own choices. I use email. I don't use social media, not in the modern sense of it, because it's not the way I want to communicate with people. And the people that want to or have to communicate in that way are not people that I want around me, because I want to be surrounded by people who think in the long term, who are willing to have a few close friends they spend a lot of time to get to understand, and share ideas that take a bit to think about. People got to think more. People got to understand more about things. If you lose it, what is it? You lose what you don't use. And I hope people keep thinking, and I hope people think what I say is valuable. But if you don't, I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to talk and actually find the best solutions to these things. I work on technology. I'm trying to make technology better for people, and I want to understand as many people's perspectives on these things as I can. But I think I'm gonna close this one off here. So I wish you a good future. I wish you well. I hope you've enjoyed considering these ideas with me, and if you want to come back and hear more, you know where to find me. So thank you for watching and listening, and more importantly than that, though, thank you for understanding.